was that the event where you decided to surrender? Because that's really what the moment you realize that you're not in control of this and you can surrender to whatever you call it. You're a Christian, or a Catholic, so it's God. It could be energy, it could be source, it could be anything, love. But once the moment that you realize that we're really not in control of anything other than our reactions to things, was that the event that got you to surrender? Or if not, would you please tell me? Because I'm in that phase right now. I'm 2 years older than you. And every day I'm like, surrender, Siegel. Surrender. Just allow. Stop trying to do and just be.
Yeah, so when I look back, every major challenge that I faced in my life, I found myself in a church. And so I worked for the Attorney General's office, and the AG didn't win, and I had no job. And every day I went to 12 o'clock daily mass. Instead of going to a lunch, I went to mass every day as a 21-year-old kid, 22-year-old kid. And I didn't even know, I literally was just there to think. And when I started the business in 2016, I left a very comfortable lifestyle practice that I was running, making more money than I had ever dreamed. I can remember my dad laughing when I told him I was leaving. He was like, "It's never enough for you, dude." Like, he literally laughed at me in a very honest way. And he wasn't critical, but I was so perceptive. I'm so perceptive of another human's perspective that I was like, what? You think it's never enough for me? He's like, you do everything. Like, you do anything you want to do. You drive the best car. Like, you have, and I mean, I drive a Tahoe. It's not the best car, but to us, that was a really big deal. And I'm getting to the point to answer your question, which I think is a great question. And that is, when I decided to find strategic partnership for the business that I had built over 7 years. And I had to decide, do I want to sell a percentage of it? Do I want to be fully acquired? I brought in all these partners. I did all this work. And I told my oldest son, it was the worst year of my life, but the most successful year of my life. And my 18-year-old and I had that conversation. During that time, that was when I hit a fully surrendering mentality. I made decisions that put God first in every single. Now, I'd been doing it for probably 7-8 years. I had been doing some of the activities that I needed, morning routine that included scripture reading. Like, I was building, it's like going to the gym, which I know you understand. Like, you start off with small gains and then you start to really see exponential gains. I hit it last year, where I found myself not knowing if it would go through, not knowing if it would be the right thing, not knowing if I made the right decision, not knowing if it was going to completely derail our family, like all the things. And I just said, it's out of my control. I'm doing the best I can and I'm being guided. And every time I would get signs that were exactly where I needed to be. It was really powerful. And so there's a great book by Walter Chesapeake called He Leadeth Me. And the whole book is about surrender. And he was in camps in the gulags in Russia during World War II. And he was a priest. And as soon as he became this priest, he was a young priest who was like ready to go change the world and wanted to go into Russia. And then like everything went wrong. And it talks about surrender. And I actually read that book during that year. And it wasn't the only thing. There was multiple things but that is, I do know when it happened, and it was more recent than it was, but it was also a series of decisions. Good long answer.
So you read the Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer?
I haven't. No,
it's basically.
I'm gonna write it down right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, and it's a true story. So it's pretty wild. I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but it's basically a lot what you're saying, but. Yeah, you know what? That's what they say. You know, there's an old adage: the harder you work, the luckier you get, and work works. And you know, the grind is something, but the surrender is everything. So I would tell you that yes, you got to freaking do the work, but you also have to detach from the outcome. So the cheat code here, the life lesson, because there's no freaking cheat codes. I'm going to tell you that right now. The cheat code is you have to be consistent and disciplined every single day. It's like I've been working for 27 years and I'm so lucky that I own a company. So Marry the process, divorce the outcome. That's it. Get better every day and keep freaking grinding. And what makes me go, and I said it before we hit record, was I just won't. Most people are going to stop, and that's when I get started. And I'm smart, and sometimes I'm stubborn, and I just keep beating my head against the wall, and that's where the surrender comes in. It's God saying, this path ain't for you. And when I allow that, all of a sudden doors open that are amazing. So that's a lot of woo-woo stuff. But I'm telling you,
it's not woo-woo at all. It's real. That's real.
I say like this.
I mean, it's true.
Life is like a roller coaster. There's ups and there's downs, and you want those ups and downs because that's like a heartbeat. You know, that's your heartbeat. And if it flattens out, you're dead. Who the hell would want that? That would be boring. And what I always know is when I'm freaking in one of my downs, and it's the whole Frank Sinatra thing. That's life. When you're riding high in April, shot down in May, you know you're going to change that tune when you're back on top in June. So you know that when you're in those downs, you just got to smile because you know that's as low as it's going to get, and it's going to start going back, and you start that grind, that upward thing, up that freaking roller coaster, and know that, woo, and then enjoy that ride for a little bit. And they say in any business, and you could probably go back to when you owned your company, in a 10-year span, you're going to have 6 good years, 2 terrible years, and 2 okay years. It's the 2 terrible years that you got that may put you out of business that you got to weather. And I got to tell you, I'm coming to the end of the 2 years, and it can't come soon enough. And the funny thing about it is I got to go back and measure the gap and the gain. It's like, wait a minute. In those 2 years, I wrote a best-selling book. I launched a new brand. We're number 12 in the country. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Okay, I've been grinding. Something really, really good is coming to this. And oh, by the way, we're now the National Technology Management is blowing up as a national brand because we can help companies of all sizes all over the country. We've built this simple and easy cybersecurity offering that I cannot believe everybody isn't doing. And we have never been hacked. We've never had ransomware. And it's just simple. And the reason why, it's the system. Everybody wants to fight you. Because, we need to have these 35 freaking system administrators and network administrators. And no, we've simplified it. We've made it easy. And you want to know who did it? A dumb old hillbilly from Warren, Michigan, who's not in IT, by the way, who's in criminal justice and sociology.
It's because you're this is where street smart outdoes intellect. You know, Robert Kiyosaki always said that, it was, I read in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he said that the A students work for the C students and the B students work for the government. And so all the kids that were crushing it in high school that are intellectually, the highest level, there's a lot of C students that end up running companies. It's because they just hadn't found what they were good at yet a lot of times. What you're describing to me is the power of living in a life of chaos and understanding how to bring calm to chaos. And that means that's the same recipe that we use in business when we simplify the complex. What you just described is, I lived in chaos, I know chaos, I understand chaos, and I made it simple. Because everybody that lives in that space that sees chaos, they're in a box. They can't get out of their box. You stay outside the box. You dip into the box to solve the problem and come back out. And to me, that's how you get the breakthroughs and the changes that can change the world. The iPhone or whatever it is. These things come from stepping outside the box. And from a lot of regular Joes, or as you call it, hillbilly from Warren, it doesn't matter. It's simplification. When you can simplify the complex and communicate it, you do something special. And that's worth following for lots of people. And that's why people follow you anyway. I mean, you simplify the messaging down to a level that people understand. And I think it's really, really empowering to people. That I know that's what your goal is to make it easy to understand, but it's far from it's a high level of intellect that gets you there. It's just a different level of intellect than what we were used to judging it on when we were growing up. If you like clips like this, I have a similar clip here. And if you want to watch the full video, click here.